Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 276. Today we have Jason Klug, the founder and the CEO of the State Aside Operations. He has a passion for consumer products that started with the process of creating them. Hello Jason.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. I know the client, he is anxious to hear your story. So let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my client a little bit about your background, about what you did before you started your online businesses?
Yeah, so I have a mechanical engineering and entrepreneurial background. I went to school for mechanical engineering where I learned the basics of, creating using 3D modeling software and working with manufacturing processes. And then, throughout my career, I got a lot of experience not only making stuff, but also in sales roles where I was, having to sell, the development process on top of then going and creating the products themselves. About 7 years ago, the company I was at prior to starting my company, they sold. So I had the opportunity at that point to then create and start my own development company. Back then, I was pretty much just a one-man band. I started it out of a one-bedroom apartment, picked up a few clients at the beginning, and basically quit my day job and then just started developing products. And now got a team of 10 here in the U.S., and then my partner Nate runs a company in China where we have a team of 20 sourcing agents and quality control managers. And basically, we now help these companies and entrepreneurs go through a development process where we go through industrial design and engineering here in the States, and then we, onboard our team overseas and source factories to start, the manufacturing development and manufacturing process.
What a background and a journey, Jason. Okay, you have been in this business for a while now. What is the most dangerous belief an entrepreneur can have?
I think the most dangerous belief that someone can have, an entrepreneur or something, I think first off they have to believe in themselves, right? If you're taking a leap like that, you have to believe in yourself and what you're doing. And if you get discouraged really quickly with, one mistake, if you lose the belief in yourself because of that mistake, that's a starting point of, a bigger failure down the road where, you're never going to reach the goal. So you just have to continue to look inward and focus on the goal and, don't let the failures cause you to lose belief. So I feel like that would be the most important thing, because even in my history, when I started, it wasn't easy to start. There were times that, I didn't have enough business to even pay rent and stuff like that. And I'd figure out other ways to get new business. And, it was tough at times, but, I always kept my eye on the long-term prize, and I still do. And I just never lost that belief in myself and my own capabilities. And then, once you grow and become a team, now I just don't lose trust and belief in my team. And, I feel like the same thing applies because you have to let the team, also learn and have some failures and learn from those experiences. And you can't lose belief in them as well. Otherwise, there's just going to be just a negative vibe or you just got to prevent that from happening at the same time.
Why do you do what you do, Jason?
I mean, just creating is a very satisfying process. I like the, the experience when you go in and you get to discover the problem that you're solving with the product you're making. So we meet people of all walks of life, right? Where we meet entrepreneurs, we meet existing business owners, and the satisfaction, starts when we get to do a research process and start learning about their problem, learning about them, learning about their goals, and then start putting pen to paper and start presenting these concepts to them. And when you do this, you get this, there's this excitement that you hear in their voice as you're going through these products with them and these concept designs, and they start to see their idea coming in, turning into a reality. And it's exciting just at the beginning. And then as you go throughout the process, you go into engineering and you make a prototype and you put a physical version of it in front of them, and they get excited, and you share that excitement with them, because it's a journey that the creator and the designer is going through with this customer, but that customer on the other side is also going through a journey of theirs. And, we're going through this with them. And that's, back to back, all these journeys we're going on keep it very interesting, especially with me and my ADD. I'm jumping around all over the place, right? So it's like nice to always have something different to work on. So you put this physical thing in their hands, and that's, another massive milestone of excitement. And then, from there, you refine the product and you make it better, and you implement the changes that they want from reviewing the prototype. And then we get to the point where we start getting involved with the manufacturing side, and you start to make samples with the manufacturer that are even closer to the final product. And then you go into production. And the exciting thing is, like, we just had a newer client of ours that we've been working with for about a year now. And I say newer about a year because this process takes some time. But she just got her first shipment of a product that we made for her. And, she's sending pictures of it in the warehouse, and she's so excited that we've gone through this journey. And now she finally has the product to take, start selling her product and get it to the customers that she's already pre-sold. And it's just this massive amount of excitement. And even beyond that, right, years later after a product launches, you'll still see something where, a product gets featured, or, an influencer does a post about it online or something, and you see it, organically on your Instagram of a project you worked on, or you go down a store aisle and you see a product you worked on hanging on a hang tag, ready for a consumer to buy. Just all of those things, it's constant repeat satisfaction for the creator, the designer, the entrepreneur that we're working with. And it's just many like feelings of just being just super proud of what we've created.
Wow.
So it's a constant flow of that. So it's hard to give up. It's like a drug, that feeling,
It's a nice drug for you and your
very
customers.
clean and healthy drug. Yep.
Let's put man aside. How do you know you are successful?
How do I know I'm successful? I mean, lately I feel like, financially, that's one way to look at success, but I don't necessarily look at it that way. And I've realized that over time. But what I've noticed, I just did team reviews with my team here, where I got to sit with each team member, go through some questions and talk about how they feel at the company. Are we taking care of them? Are they happy? Stuff like that. And the responses, and not only, the quality of work they're putting out is so good. And, but going through the review and hearing their perspective of how they feel about working as part of the Klugonyx team is just, it's so satisfying. And the fact that I have a team that I can trust 100% with everything I've got, and we can continue to grow together as a team, and they're happy doing what we're doing. I mean, that right there, I feel, because I look back to the days when I was alone in my apartment and then to now, and the fact that I have this team that is this happy, and in the review, some of the comments they're making, about being very supported and feeling, happy to be a part of the team, and how they miss us working together in the office because we've been working from home, this year. That right there is where I felt a massive amount of success. And it's very gratifying, not only that I have the team that believes in what we're doing, but, just that I feel like I've done a good job, being a leader, and that's just, it's very gratifying.
Okay, you have worked in other companies and you have produced many products and worked with the different entrepreneurs. But can anyone be an entrepreneur, or are some people more cut out for it than others?
I think anybody could be an entrepreneur, but there's some key traits that they need to do it, and also to consider that you know even if you're not willing to take the risk, you can still support an entrepreneur. Be a co-founder or whatever, right? So to be an entrepreneur, the things that you really need is you have to have the tolerance for risk and the unknown, right? You a lot of times are not going to be in full control of any situation. So you have to have the strong emotional character to deal with that. You have to be okay with failure. And you have to be okay, what if you lose all of your money, to build your dream before you actually start seeing success? Like you just have to have that capability. And some people just don't want to take that risk, and that's fine. But if you still want to be involved in something that's like entrepreneurial or, a startup, you could still go in and help an entrepreneur, especially if you believe in the dream they're building and working on as well, and help mitigate some of that risk, but still get a lot of the excitement of joining something and then watching and being a part of its growth. So, yeah, I think there's, if you're not willing to take the leap, I still think if you have somewhat of a hunger to be, start something, working with another startup is a great way to go. And, down the road, you might work at that startup and see some of the, get exposure to some of those risks and some of those things that can happen as an entrepreneur. And, you might then get the confidence and experience to then take that leap later. So yeah, I'd say yes and no.
In your businesses, do you have a mentor or a coach yourself?
Oh yes, definitely. I have a few, I have a variety of mentors and coaches. I like to have mentors and coaches that have different experiences, whether it's a sales experience or it's financial experience, accounting style. If it, just someone else that's a serial entrepreneur like me, so yes, I have a few that, I kept close and I like to talk to regularly, and they've definitely been very helpful in making sure that I have someone to lean on when talking through, major steps or milestones, and making sure that I'm, going about it the right way. Or, it's good to learn from other people's mistakes. And that's very helpful to have the few that I have.
What is the most valuable thing your mentors or coaches has told you?
I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with, first off, the first thing is taking the leap, and having, because when I quit that first job I had before I started my company, the guy that was the CEO of that company is still my mentor today. But the fact that I was able to go to him when I was still working for him and say, hey, I want to start my own company, he gave me the confidence to take the leap. And without that, I would have, it would have been hard to take that leap solo. But when I had someone saying, you're ready for this, I think you should do it, it was, I think that was a pretty pivotal part of my career.
What have you learned from business as a whole?
Just that I think the biggest thing is like the way you treat the people working with you is a big part of your success, short term and long term. In order to keep really strong team members around and happy, that is so crucial, because otherwise, if you can't, you can't achieve big goals without help. And if you're not taking care of the team that's going to help you achieve those goals and reward them for it, then it's just going to make the process way harder than it needs to be.
Why is it important to go through a high quality process versus finding the lower cost way to get to the market?
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of people going through product development, tend to go cut corners and find the lowest cost solution, but developing a product, there's a lot of steps along the way. Not only is there a lot of steps, but there's always a lot of tweaks and changes and pivots, and you need different levels of experience in different fields throughout the process. And a lot of times when you go with the lower cost, they don't have as much or as many resources as we would. And when they hit barriers or walls in the process that prevents them from moving forward, they might not have the resource or experience to get through it, and it causes a project to pause, or they might go about it, go about the process improperly. So it could just drag it all out and take much longer, and you might not end up with something, ideal, because, you kind of have to, just like the mentor thing, we've made a lot of mistakes over the last 7 years developing products. So when and that's why we consider ourselves a premium process now, because we have so much experience going through these issues and mistakes and getting through to the other side. All that we've learned going through the past issues and mistakes, we can apply the experience now to all the new projects we work on, which is incredibly valuable in saving time, money, and then ending up with a much better product. And as a consumer product company, the quality of your product and the how thought out and well designed it is important for the long-term success of the brand that the entrepreneur is making. So it's very important to make sure that all that stuff is in line, and it really could affect, even if it's your first product to market, it could affect the long-term perception of the brand as a whole. So it's worth doing it right the first time.
What is one thing that has contributed to your success?
I think just the fact that I just never quit. I just kept grinding towards that, and I'm still grinding today. It's like there's just you just can't stop. You got to keep going and keep getting up and pushing forward. I think that at the end of the day, it's taken 7 years, but even 3 years ago, I was in a much more difficult place than I'm in now. And once you continue to hit those little success wins over time, that becomes more and more exponential. And if I quit, I would never have gotten to the part where it starts to scale upward at the rate we're starting to now.
What is one thing no one knows about you?
Well, I think sometimes I do want to a lot, and I try to act like I don't want to, but sometimes I do want to micromanage things. But I force myself to just trust the team member working on something and step back and just hope for the better results. So, and that's sometimes difficult for me. But what I put off is that I have to show them that I trust them and whatnot. And usually, in 80-90% of the time, it ends up being great. So the more and more I do that, I get better and better at letting it go and letting it be handled and trusting the team member that's working on it.
What grounds you?
Making mistakes and learning, whenever that happens, it's okay, right? It humbles me and makes me look back and just check myself. So I think mistakes are good in that sense.
Otherwise, they will be like, no, I don't want to make a mistake, because that pushes you back.
Right. But at the end of the day, it's like you get pushed back, but then you take way more steps forward, and then that pushback doesn't happen again,
Let's talk about your business. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, so Klugonyx, we're located in Salt Lake City, Utah, and we have a team here of industrial designers and engineers. And the creative process we go through is where the industrial designers go through a discovery process with a client where they pick their brain and ask questions about their dream product. And we then, formulate a list of features and details and, target market and, who we're going to, build this product for, who that end consumer is. We go through this design process where we start putting pen to paper and we start super broad, and we do some rough concept sketches to put in front of the client, where they then get multiple options of things they get to pick, whether that's the way the product looks, whether it's, how the product functions, different features that the product can have, and just some high level design details. And then, we put that in front of the client, and the client gives us feedback. We refine it, and we, get more honed in on the product concept. And then by the end of that industrial design phase, the client then has a final concept. When that final concept is signed off on, we move into an engineering process where an engineer gets the design, we review it as a team, and the engineer starts creating the 3D models and assets needed to make a prototype of the product. And we make prototypes in a variety of ways. Sometimes we have 3D printers that we can print in our office. We have resources overseas, resources all over the country where we can make these prototypes. And these prototypes can be anything from, a rough version of the product just to give an idea of how it performs and functions, all the way up to something that looks and feels like the final product that can be, you can make videos with or present the product idea confidently and show how it works and you use it. And from there, the prototype being a prototype, right? It's the first example of the product. We go through another phase with engineering where we refine the product and we implement tweaks and changes, and we get the product design to where it's more manufacturable. And at the end of that phase, we then transition to Nate and his team, where they pick up the project and start working and collaborating with various manufacturers to start going through a DFM process. And DFM stands for Design for Manufacturing. So, we're passing them engineered files, but then the factories who have engineers in-house are, much more experienced with various processes. So it helps to then get their input on the product design to help, make the manufacturing process more efficient, to get the cost down, or to, explore what materials to use and all those details. We go through that refinement and make, production tooling and everything they need to set up the factory for mass production, and then, run through manufacturing and do the production run. After the production run, we put our quality control team at the factory floor as a third party to go in and review the product that they produce to make sure that it meets our specs and our standards to be, quality enough product to sell. So once it's signed, we sign off on the manufacturing, we're then able to, get the product loaded into a container and then shipped to the United States or wherever it might be going. Wow. And then we just do that over and over again. But the glory is even when you manufacture your first product, a lot of times, there's still room for refinement even in later production runs. So we're always trying to improve products even after the fact.
How can we find your services, and how can we connect with you?
Yeah, our website is klugonyx.com, KLUGONYX.com. And we have forms on there you can submit for a questionnaire that just has some, high level information about your project. And then, we'll then, connect with you and take you through our process.
Thank you. So, Clan, if you are listening on one of the many podcasting platforms rather than my website and you're encouraged by Jason's journey, go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for a bonus collection of 277 audio clips. The Online Success Journey is a wonderful membership community built for people searching for the path to success. We are one big clan and you can be part of this community for free. A selected interviews offer members only audio clips from over 250 plus guests' journey, all designed to help you find the right path for your own online success journey. Jason, what are you still doing in the way you work that you just know you have to stop doing?
Well, I actually just recently did it. I think I recently stopped doing what I should have stopped doing, is sitting at a desk. I recently got a standing desk, and I realized that sitting at a desk was bothering my back, and I was just, I would sit there all day and I would just feel sore and groggy at the end of the day. And I recently got a standing desk, and I feel like that has, made a big change. So I feel like I hopefully stopped doing it, but because the desk can go down and up, I can sit still. But, I've been standing more than I'm sitting. So I feel like that's a good, good thing.
That's great. Tell my client about the magic moment, the day it suddenly all went right for you.
I don't know if it went right, but I think a magic moment was the last day walking out of my day job and leaving the office and then going home to start my new company full time. I thought there was a moment when I was driving home that was it was a very empowering feeling. And I think that was something I'll never forget. And that was only the very, very, very beginning of the journey, so yeah, so I'll never forget that.
Were you not worried going to be a one-band man?
Yeah, exactly.
If you are going to keep a note to yourself in your pocket every day, what would be written on it?
It would just be just to not quit, just to keep going.
What is the best business book you have ever read?
I think a book that I read at the beginning of the year is called Goals. And I just learned a lot about that, like from that book, about even short-term and long-term goals. And I felt like I got a lot out of it that I still use today. It's by an author named Brian Tracy. So I felt like that was I felt like I took the most away from that book compared to other books.
If your business was down to its last $100, how would you invest it?
I would basically buy myself enough food to hustle more and get more business. So I think $100 could probably last me 3 weeks worth of food. So if I can get another deal within 3 weeks, then I think that would be all I would need to get back up and running.
Wow, thank you. What is your next chapter?
My next chapter is, it's really like a lot of the growth we're experiencing right now, and continue to stabilize and add more team members. So yeah, that's been a big, big focus as of right now. And just making the growth more just consistent and so a year from now, I'd like to, just continue to grow the team. And I'd like to look back a year forward, or look forward a year and see, just more team members and more, just continue to smooth out our operation.
Do you feel like you succeeded, or like you're only on the way?
I feel like I have succeeded, but I also still feel like I'm on the way. I feel like if you feel like you've succeeded and you just settle, then you're going to not continue to grow. So yeah, I always have to keep my eye on the prize.
Remind us how we can connect with you.
www.klugonyx.com. Klugonyx.
Jason, it's been great to have you here to share your online success journey with us.
Yeah, it's been great to be here. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you for coming. That's a wrap, clan. Remember, success is a journey. Patience and Jason.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to part 1 and want to be sure you know there is a second part to this and every journey podcast at onlinesuccessjourney.com, filled with even more success tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. There are dozens of episodes only available to the members of the Online Success Journey clan. Check out the website and click on Join the Clan for more information. Patience would like to thank you for listening to this podcast, and she has a free audio gift for you at her website. Go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for instant access to this gift. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps each of us chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and to listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review it at Stitcher and other sites by clicking the stars or completing the ratings form, by clicking thumbs up and leaving a comment on YouTube, or liking and sharing the podcast on social media. To review the podcast within iTunes, Simply open iTunes to the podcast, click on Ratings and Reviews, then write a review. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.